what I really am, what I'm gonna take.
How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. There you go.
Oh, great. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing better.
Good, good, good. Well, let me do my intro and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
What up, everybody? It's your girl PJ Dakota. We here on the Say What Show, and I have the author here with me with her book, Pasha, with her book Through the Scars, Rising from Cancer. And this is the book. You should get it. It's a good read, for real though. Okay. So, Pasha, how you doing, Miss Lady?
I'm doing great. How are you, Patty?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Um, a happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
And one, I'll say that I'm sorry that you're going through what you're going through. And if you need any help or anything, talk to anybody, girl, hit me up. I'm there for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, yes, yes. So, through the scars, rising from cancer. I haven't gotten through the whole book, but I got the general idea of it. I want to tell you, this is a really good book. I'm
Okay.
um I'm very proud that I know somebody who wrote a book on such a serious topic. Um, and anybody that wants to get it, you guys can get it. It's available. It's not a bunch of jargon that you can't understand. It's from her whole experience. I was going through the book. My dad saw the flyer and he was like, "Oh my God, what is that about?" Um, we're actually going through uh, cancer with him, prostate
Oh,
cancer,
wow.
and he has a cancerous bump or something on his face right under his eye. So when he saw
Um,
this, he was like, "Wow, please tell me or let me read that book too."
okay.
So I proceeded to. I said, "So I'm going through the book. Love, like I said, I'm just loving how the flow of it goes." And I started reading him some of your topics that you guys that you put in this book. So my audience, I want you guys to hear some of the things that she covers in this book. um like she says, being diagnosed, learning, what you say, learn about all the types of cancer, your diagnosis and treatment, telling your family, telling your children if you have any, thinking the worst, why did it happen to me, anger, disappointment, feeling abandoned and walking alone, no one understands my pain, emotion versus reality, anxiety about treatment, anxiety regarding caregivers, anxiety regarding job status, medical bills, financial anxiety. When I started reading these things, I mean, it goes on, you guys. Let me turn a couple of other pages so you guys can understand. I don't think she didn't touch on anything. I think she touched on everything, really. Um, Sorting out your lonely feelings. What does depression look like with a cancer patient? Good view how you say it, because it's different for everybody. Uh,
Yes.
what is your greatest fear? Facing your fear. Man, these, you touched on it all, and you can only touch on those things because you went through them. So I totally get it. Um, Enough of me talking, because I trust me, I'm not just saying this to push the book or anything, y'all. This is a serious topic, and like she says in this book, we all know somebody that's been through it, or knows, or we're going through it, or that somebody close to us is going through it. And a lot of times we on the outside, especially when it's not us, and we're on the outside trying to understand their world, because now they're in a whole different, everything has changed in their lives because of that diagnosis and going through the treatments, whatever the treatment process is for that uh Pacific, Pacific person. But on our side, sometimes it's hard to understand what they're going through. This book we're here right here will tell you guys that. You'll see the inside. So now you be like, man, I wonder what mom is going through. I wonder what mom's thinking. Why does mom say what she say when we ask how you feel? Because I asked my
Hmm.
dad that, and he a lot of things you touched on, he agreed. He said yes. You don't want to, we say, hey dad, how you doing, and we get the normal, I'm okay. He said, but really
Yeah.
you're not. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
he like, you don't want to say, yo, I'm feeling depressed today, because then that's a mental thing. He said, don't want nobody thinking that you're crazy or whatever. So
Yeah.
it truly was an eye opener. So I can't thank you enough for writing this book.
Thank you. Well, first, I want to say thank you for having me on your
Yes,
show. I'm honored.
yes,
I'm honored to know you. I've known you for a while because we ran into each other a lot on the music scene, of course, in Flint,
yep,
and we have some of the same friends.
yeah,
So thank you to your listeners as well. I want to say I appreciate them for listening to my story. And I'm praying for your dad as well.
Thank
And
you,
I
thank
know
you.
this is a difficult time because whether you're the person that's going through cancer or you're a family member or a caregiver, it totally throws you for a loop
Yep.
and you get emotional when it's someone that you love and care about. So I totally understand. And the book is really just about everything that I felt and went through. When you
Yep.
described that, you said it perfectly. I felt every kind of emotion there was, and I wanted to capture that in the book. I
Yes.
mean, I didn't want to hold back. I didn't want to sugarcoat nothing.
Right.
I didn't want to be like, oh, no, I wanted to tell you my real feelings and how I felt and how I cried some nights and how I was
Yeah.
scared and lonely and, all those different things. And so, the book it was really therapeutic for me to write, but it was also a rebirth and an eye opener for me to never take life for granted, to take care of myself, my
Mhm.
well-being, to take care of my health, to work hard, but don't push my body to the point where it's not getting the proper rest and things that it needs, and just really being more mindful about my body in general.
Uh-huh.
So again, the book is available. It's available on Amazon. You can order it there. It's also available in Kindle version. It's also available online where books are sold. So you can get it through Barnes and Noble online, and you can read it, and like you said, it's not a whole bunch of big words, it's just straight to the point. It's a good read because it's practical, it's relatable, and you can share with someone that's either going through cancer or someone that has a loved one that's going through cancer.
Right. And so first, let me put my disclaimer. If I'm not, I want to ask some questions, and I don't want to go too far into it. But you didn't skim over nothing, so I kind of feel like I could ask
Yeah.
the question. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to seem like I'm being insensitive to you at all. Okay, Pasha.
Okay.
Um, the I was reading it, and you touched on something that so many people in the world do, and that's that everyday living. You get up, you make the coffee, you put the clothes on, you take a shower, you get ready for work, you come home, you're getting stuck in traffic, come back home, cook dinner, go to bed, start all over again.
Yeah.
We all do that, and then there's the other stuff like I think you mentioned stuff about some financial difficulties or whatever,
Yeah.
medical things like that, and what what I'm learning in the process because of dealing with my dad is one of the everything has something, and whatever it is, no matter what it is, something fuels it. So what fuels cancer? One of the many things is stress.
Yeah.
So you had said like, oh man, when you gave that whole scenario, this is how you was going to work and this, that, and the other, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of stress, and that
Yeah.
that could contribute to any cancer. And then
Yeah.
you came back to it, and you was like, yeah, so stress is one of those things that just fuse it on and makes it worse, or keep it going or whatever. Um, that
Stress can really, go into contribute to any health condition.
yeah.
But of course, there have been studies about stress and how it correlates to cancer.
Hmm.
But it's a lot of different things that play into a person having cancer. It could be biological, it could be,
Oh yeah,
their DNA cells. But I did want to point out how keeping your stress levels down, and how we just run our bodies ragged and how we
yes,
just work so hard. You gotta just be smart about how to take care of your body.
totally, totally agree. And that's what I was saying. Like man, and so there's the stress before the diagnosis, and then there's the stress
Mm,
after. And
absolutely.
people got to understand, man, we got to learn how to tone it. And it's a hard process because you got to be able to
Yeah.
take all that in and make it make sense. And at that moment, that does not make sense at all.
Yeah.
Um, I uh, I had a potential cancer scare one year, and I don't mind sharing it.
Hmm.
Uh, it was dealing with the female area,
Okay.
and the doctor was so insensitive. it started off as the regular um mammogram that we have done, and my
Okay.
doctor that I had at the time couldn't read the X-ray or whatever correctly, so he
Hmm.
sent it off to a specialist, and the specialist instantly said it's cancer. Just flat out, it was cancer. So
Oh
he calls
no.
me in, and it was crazy because I think my best friend was out of town, and my mom and them were out of town, so I was by myself going to this doctor's appointment. And this,
Hmm.
yeah, you're not trying to think nothing wrong or anything, but anytime you gotta go to a specialist, your
Yeah.
mind starts racing. And I remember
Right.
going in and I sat down, and he just said, "You have stage 3 cancer." Right at that moment,
Whoa.
everything stopped. That's why I say I can so relate to
Whoa.
everything you're saying. And you like what? And he was just like, "Yeah, you have stage 3 cancer. Uh, come back and we'll do a bio." And that was it. Okay, have a nice day. Set your appointment. I'll see you later. There was no, if you need any help, then there was nothing. He was like the worst.
That's terrible.
Yeah. And I I'm you know, I mean I'm walking to my car, and I'm in slow motion. When I tell you, everything just stops because you like,
Hmm.
what does that mean? What do I do next?
Yeah.
What do I do now? What? Every emotion, every thought that you mentioned comes all at that one time, and you
Yeah.
trying to figure it out, and you don't know. And I didn't have nobody to lean on, to cry on, to whatever. And in the end, after the biopsy, he's like, "Oh no, it was just a glitch on the film. You okay?"
See, first I want to say I appreciate you for sharing that because that's very personal.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is a doctor should never diagnose you off of a scan.
Yes.
They should only diagnose you off of a biopsy. And if
Yep.
people don't know what a biopsy is, that is when they take tissue from the suspected area
Mm-hmm.
and they analyze it microscopically for cancer cells. So think about the trauma you felt in that moment
In that moment.
by getting misinformation.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, when you go to a doctor, you want to make sure you have if you can, to have someone with you.
With
You
you.
want to do your research on the individual, look up their reviews and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
because people can get misdiagnosed, underdiagnosed.
Yeah.
It's so many things that can happen when an individual goes to a doctor and that doctor either is not competent or they're negligent. And what that doctor did was very, very negligent.
Yep.
And it wasn't competent as well, because even the least smartest person would know you don't diagnose a person off of a scan. Now they can tell you if they see a tumor,
Right.
perhaps, or see some type of cyst, or see some type of mass,
Yeah.
but they can't determine from a scan if it's cancer. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that, and people need to know about these kinds of scenarios
Yes.
because, again, some information like that about possibly thinking you even have cancer is
Yeah.
a scary, scary thought.
Scary, scary. I sat in that car for about 20 minutes and just cried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what do you know, like you're saying, I think you said you were 30.
I was
I
in
think
my
that,
30s.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think I
being
was
a
in my
young
30s.
person.
Yeah, I was in my
And that's
30s.
relatively young, and you don't have a
Exactly, it
lot of
is.
people to talk to about
About
a
that,
a
right?
cancer diagnosis, being a young person. I mean, I know of, and I put that in my book, I know of older people who've had cancer and things like that, but
Yes.
when it comes to my own peers, it was no one that I could talk to or really relate to. So again, especially in our community, in the Black community, we need to make sure we get those health screens. If you feel like a
Mm,
doctor is not taking you serious, go to another doctor. Don't
new
play
doctor.
around.
Yes.
Go to someone that's competent, someone who cares. A physician needs to have a certain level of care and not just treat you as a number or a patient walking in the door.
Exactly. Totally, totally agree. Um, I shared that story because it's like you saying the whole being misdiagnosed on it, but it's the whole. Unfortunately, I feel that our community has this shield up, or our pride that won't allow us to go to the doctor and get seen and things like that.
Mhm.
And some people say, well, I don't
Yeah.
have the insurance or whatever. Okay, fine, but still go see somebody. And I just think
Yes.
we need to, be more, um, what's the word I want? Just go to your doctor, like you were saying. Go get
Yeah.
those X-rays or those, physicals and things, those things done, because certain things, because we're black, we tend to get what was it, like diabetes, a couple of ailments that I think that blacks
Yes.
get. Huh?
Yes, there are certain diseases that we statistically, are
Prone to,
diagnosed with.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we are highly diagnosed with certain conditions. So you absolutely right. It's important to go. Even if you have state insurance, if you don't have any insurance, get you an affordable plan you can pay out of your
Yep.
pocket. But you
Mhm.
have to take care of your health because thank God I was able to get into the doctor when I did because my cancer could have spread to my brain.
Yep.
So it was at the tip of my head, right at the tip of my head. And so,
Mm.
it was a large mass from the inside of my nose all the way through the back of my eye to the top of my head inside.
Mm.
And so again, if you're proactive, you see your doctor, you get those screens, you could save your life and you really want to do your best to make your health the number one priority.
Okay. Um, is this your picture on the cover?
No, that's not me.
Okay.
That picture is actually a replica of me. I posted a picture of myself. I don't know if you've seen it on
Yeah, I
Facebook, and
saw
I
it.
posted
Yeah.
on Instagram where
Yep.
my eye was kind of bloody and black and bruised. So
Yeah.
it's a replica of that. I
Okay.
wanted the artist that designed the cover to give me something that represented what I went through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And as I was reading, I didn't realize they eventually had to take your eye.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Um, and I read that you have a kid, and the questions that she asked and
Yes.
additional questions, whatever. I'm taking it. Was she able to get an understanding of it to where she could
Well, at
even?
the time she was only 6,
Okay.
so I had to break it down to her in layman's terms where a child could understand.
Okay.
And I didn't go too deep into detail because she was really, really worried about me
Right.
when she saw me getting sick. And then when she saw that, my mom had to come in and stay with us for a while and help us, it just threw her whole routine off and
Oh,
she
okay.
was worried. So, what I did is I just told her that I would have to go to the doctor, I would have to get my tumor out, I would have to take treatment, and then, eventually, I would get better. But we would, need my mom to come in and help. So I had to explain it to her in a way that a child could understand, but still kind of ease her into it because I didn't want her to be worried and scared.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You talk about anxiety, and when I saw that
Yeah.
today, I was like, that's because we kept trying to, but we like hawks now because we watch every move my dad makes now, and one of the biggest things is he's tired, and then
Yeah.
when he's not feeling his best, or when it's come time to get to a doctor, appointment or whatever, his mood changes, and
Yeah.
sometimes it changes where I don't know. It seems like he's lashing out at us. Now I get it. It's that
Yeah.
anxiety, like he has
Yeah.
an appointment tomorrow. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, okay, here we go. So, um, how have you been able to deal with your anxieties now?
It was definitely a process. I think in the beginning, I was nervous. Every doctor's appointment, every scan, every result that would come back, I was really scared,
Mm-hmm.
and just anxious, nervous. And then I think, I think after treatment And I kind of started to feel a little bit better once the tumor was out. Then I said,
Okay.
okay, I'm going to just focus on my health in between the time of my next appointment. And then when I get to that appointment, I'm just going to take it one appointment at a time. And
Okay.
I think that's what helped me to stop being overwhelmed. So in between the
Mhm.
time of me going to the appointment, I would just do my best, take care of my health, try to eat the right things, preserve my energy where I needed to so I could feel better, get the proper rest. And then I said, okay, I'll just handle each appointment at a time and I won't overwhelm myself about thinking too far in the future or, any of that. Just taking care of myself in this moment and just dealing with each day, each appointment as it comes.
Right. Got you. Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Like I say, a lot of what you talk about in this book is I will be sharing with my dad as well as with my mom
Good.
because we're the caregivers. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When he's down, how do you how do you help somebody or treat somebody when they don't want to be open up to tell us what really is wrong? You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Support groups, family is good, but there are times when a cancer patient may not want to talk to family because they don't want to overwhelm family or they don't want to put their guilt or whatever they're feeling on their family. In the book I talk about, I saw a counselor, I went to therapy one-on-one, and I was able to share some of my feelings. That helped a lot because that's someone that didn't know me,
mm-hmm.
couldn't judge my
Couldn't judge
past,
you,
present, or
right?
future,
Right.
just listen to what I had to say and help me sort out those thoughts and work through those things. And then again, like I said, you got to be open to that because it's no way I would have been able to push through the way I did if I didn't have somebody to talk to outside of family. Family and friends is good, but they're my family was trying to take care of me, so they needed their mental health. I didn't want to dump everything on them.
Gotcha.
So definitely I went to a professional just to make sure all my feelings came out and I could deal with how I was feeling in those moments.
Right. Yeah. No, totally. The book starts off with you saying January 16th. So you've been diagnosed. Wow. What's the day? Today? What's the day?
Today is the 19th, so I was diagnosed a year and 3 days ago.
Right. Yeah. I just realized it.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, we got it. We into a
Yeah.
year with this. Okay. So
Yeah.
you being diagnosed with that. Let's take it back 3 months before that. Is that when you started feeling sick or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I noticed around October, November of 2019, I started feeling really fatigued, just like out the blue. I mean, and again, I explain this in the book. Cancer fatigue is different from just regular tired.
Hmm.
When you have cancer fatigue, it feels like somebody just zapped all the energy out of you.
Energy.
No matter how much rest you get, no
Yes.
matter how long you lay down, it just feels like something is pulling down on your energy. It's like gravity is
It's
pulling you
pulling it.
down. It's
That's how my
that's
dad
just
describes
that's
it.
the best way I can describe it.
That's how my dad
Um,
describes it.
okay, well, that's exactly how it feels. And so I started to have those feelings and I was just trying to push through and then I'm like, no, something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course I went to the doctor and but I didn't go to the doctor for that because the thing is my my nose was running and my eye was watering. It was allergy season and that's usually what happens during allergy
Right.
season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I knew something was wrong because my eye wouldn't stop watering. And that's when I went to my optometrist. Then I went to an ophthalmologist and she sent me for an MRI scan. And then that's when they found the tumor.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
is that a I don't know the proper word how to say it. Is that like a common? That's the word I'm gonna use. Is that a common type of cancer, or is this
No, it's not. Usually when you have cancer in your nose, it's not common.
okay?
So I think less than 2% of the population in the US.
Oh,
they're
wow.
diagnosed with cancer in the nose. And then there's all types of different cancers.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to know your specific type, and you want to know, like I said in the book, the best type of treatment. Some doctors, depending on, your stage or how far you're at, sometimes they'll recommend surgery, sometimes they won't. So sometimes they'll recommend surgery with chemo and radiation, or sometimes they'll do chemo and radiation first to try to get the tumor to go down, to
Right.
minimize,
Yeah.
and then they try to see, if it minimizes to the point where they can do surgery, or they may not have to do surgery. So it's different scenarios. That's why it's best to have a good doctor, a good team. And I'm thankful that, I went through the Mayo Clinic. I talk about them in the book. They're one of the best,
Okay.
research hospitals. And I was very pleased. I was recommended by a friend who had throat cancer 3 times.
Mm.
And she
Okay.
was given a terminal diagnosis at one point, but she's been here and alive for several years. So I took her advice,
Yeah.
and I went to seek help from the Mayo Clinic.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Um, how do you move on? Because I know you talk about religion. Maybe we all at some point will question our faith. Why did this happen to me? Those type of things.
Yeah.
Does it ever? Not that it needs to get better, because you're still fighting it. But do you? Is there a silver lining in the end where you can be like, okay, or are you at that point where you can say, I'm not? Are you okay with it, or you're living with it? I'm not really sure how I want to ask that question, because it's like,
Okay.
how do you, we're moving on, and are we okay? Are we gonna be okay?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're trying to ask. I think this is for me personally.
Uh huh.
I think I'm at the stage where I have accepted that my life has taken on a new shape and form.
Okay.
And there's been a rebirth, and more like a spiritual awakening for me, where I can look back and say, okay, I love my life before.
Mhm.
I was confident before. Why should I let this get me down and make me feel like I'm less than, or I don't deserve to be here, or God doesn't love me, because I'm still lovable. I'm still God's child.
Yes.
I still have a purpose,
Mhm.
so this physical body and appearance, that can be fixed. And
Yeah.
all of that is getting fixed. I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
It's my heart and my soul that I worry about.
Okay.
And so I feel like I'm at a very good place. I'm in right standing with God, and I'm in right standing with myself. And so my silver lining is that I truly learned how to look myself in the mirror and say I love myself regardless of what
Awesome.
happens.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, I don't want to hold you too long. Like I said, I think it's a great book. Um, for it to be a first book too, it's a really good book. The graphics on it is great. If you had it to say anything to anybody that's either newly being diagnosed, or still struggling with cancer or anything, what would like to say to them?
I would say just hold on to God, hold on to your faith, surround yourself with your loved ones and family members and friends who love you and support you. You are not alone. There are many survivors from cancer. Seek out professional help, as well as groups that you can talk with about your feelings. And, just take care of yourself. I think that's the main thing. Don't just take it one day at a time. Try not to get overwhelmed, and just walk through this journey, and know, like I said, that you're not alone. Again, I am so appreciative of the questions you asked, because I think, because you have a family member, your dad is experiencing cancer,
Mhm.
you ask some really, really good, tough, honest questions.
Thank
So
you.
I'm so happy about that. And again, people can get the book. They can order it through Amazon online. They can get it at Barnes and Nobles online, anywhere books are sold. If they're out of the country, they can go to bookdepository.com and also get the book if they're outside of the US.
Great, great, great. Well, thank you again for being on my show.
Thank you so much, Patty. I appreciate you.
Yes, yes. And like I say, if you need anything, whatever, reach out to me, girl. I'll help you, whatever. I am here
Thank
for you.
you. And I'll be praying for your dad. Keep me posted. And if he needs any information or wants to talk to me personally, please connect him to me.
I sure will. I sure will.
All
Well,
right.
you enjoy the rest of this year. Let's
You
all try
too.
to get through this pandemic. Stay safe, cover up, sanitize and everything.
Yes. Thank you. You be safe and
All
be
right.
well.
Yes, you too. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
All right, y'all. It's your girl PJ Dakota. There you have it. Through the scars, rising from cancer. My girl Pasha Chaney. Good read. I'm gonna read it again. I got all the way through it. Man, mm, yeah. I strongly suggest you guys read this. There's thousands of books out there you guys can read, but I definitely feel you need to read this one. It helps ease your mind in thoughts and questions that you may have and that you feel that nobody can answer. Best person that can answer it is someone that's been through it. And the reason why I push and why I'm pushing this is because you're dealing with somebody that has cancer right now that you can't break through, that you can't talk to, that you can't figure out what's really wrong because they don't want to talk about it. It's a hard thing. But here's somebody who did talk about it. And I promise you, the same thing that she says that she went through in this book, your family member or friend feel the same way and going through the same way. I'm telling you, okay? So as she says, this book is available, Barnes and Nobles, all those good bookstores. Get you a copy. All right. It's your girl PJ Dakota. Thank you once again for joining me here on the Say What Show. I'll see you guys next week for another incredible show.